What position do you play and what band are you in?
I play drums in Whitechapel.
Okay. So, I hear you guys just finished recording a new album. How did that go?
Good. I mean, it was a pretty fast process. Kind of all took place over the course of about a month at our guitar player's house. Flew down to Florida, did the drums at Jason Sukoff's studio with Mark Lewis. And Mark drove up to Tennessee and did the rest of the guitars, bass, vocals, everything else at Alex's house. So, I mean, everything came together really quickly. I mean, for me, I was still kind of making sense of all the songs and kind of digesting them all as I was putting them all down. But I don't know, I'm pretty excited about it. Everybody else in the band seems to really think it's some of the best stuff they've written. So, I mean, that's encouraging, at least for me. Like I can't really, I can't compare this record to like This Is Exile or A New Era of Corruption as those guys can, because I didn't, help them write those records. So, I mean, from what they've said, they're all really stoked on what they've written. So, I mean, it's encouraging to know that they're also excited about everything even more than I am. So.
Okay, awesome. Can you give us a little bit of insight about what we should expect?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some stuff that's like a lot slower. Like almost sounds like it could be like Acacia String or something like that, or just something really chunky and groove based. Like a much less complex version of the Sugar or something. But there's also some stuff on it like crazy fast double bass. Blast beats and the whole thing, the whole fast, brutal side of it is definitely still there. But I mean, it's just like any other band, they're never gonna put out what they put out their first record. As bad as everybody wants it to happen, it's never gonna happen. Like no band, for the most part, man. I mean, bands just don't do that. They kind of grow and evolve and evolve. And I mean. I guess, like I said, just expect a further progressed version of what we put on the last record. Maybe some stuff that's a little bit faster, some stuff that's a little bit slower. So I guess both of those extremes.
How did you become a member of the band?
I kind of just heard by word of mouth that they were looking for a new drummer. So I sent them a couple. I'd never met any of the guys before. I just kind of heard they were looking for somebody and just wasn't going to pass the chance up because I play all that stuff already. So just, why would I not try? So I just sent them out some videos. The second video I sent out, they ended up really, for one reason or another, liking it. They decided to fly out to Tennessee, where they're all from. I'm from Arizona, so for me, like, I was playing in a smaller band called Knights of the Abyss, and like, that was kind of a big deal for me when Whitechapel was like, yeah, we want to fly you out to the other side of the country, see if we like you or not or whatever. So I don't know, just they gave me about, I think, like 16 songs or something to learn, 14 songs. Learned them all front to back, went out there, played them all, and it was like, all right, we're going on tour in February, we'll see you in a couple months. And with them ever since. I guess now, I'm technically a member of the band, but the last year since I joined them in December or January, I just feel like it was kind of more of like a trial kind of thing, I guess. Like I was still kind of a hired gun, if you will.
How has the overall experience been different than your experience in Knights of the Abyss?
I don't even know where to begin, man. I mean, at least for us, I mean, when I joined Knights, it was basically, I don't know how much of their history you're familiar with, but basically when I joined the band, they had already pretty much killed their career by dropping a record that sounded absolutely nothing like the first record they put out. I mean, it was basically like Job for a Cowboy Doom to Black Dahlia Murder Nocturnal, you know, like literally like night and day. So a lot of people lost interest, and then they lost like 4 or 5 of their original members, and then I joined after that. So basically, I was just riding out a sinking ship, and I rode it out to the very end. So, I mean, in that sense, I mean, it was more survival for us. Like, I mean, there were times we had literally no money, and you're like, all right, how do we get to the next show? We're like in the middle of the damn country. Like, what are we doing? So, I mean, for me, by the time I quit that band, because for the time that I was in the band, I like to think that I definitely put a lot of, you know, my heart and soul, and whatever you want to call it. Like, I put a lot of energy, time, and money into this band. So basically everything I had, I put into it. So by the end of it, I was like 10 grand in debt. You know, I had no gear to play drums on, and then basically went and tried out for Whitechapel a couple months later, and you know, now I don't know, I have gear, you know, I have drumsticks, I have drums. It's whatever, man. I mean, it's just totally the opposite side of the spectrum. Like the way that we all kind of looked at Whitechapel being in a band of a similar genre, I guess, would be, you know, just that they're like the hugest thing in the world. So, I mean, like for me, when it all happened, I mean, it was a pretty big deal, you know. I mean, with all that taken into consideration, you know, I was like, wow, this is like the biggest thing in the world. Which, I mean, now, I mean, not to say that I'm unhappy with anything that I have. Like, my life is awesome. But I mean, with every step of the way, going from being in like a local band to Knights of the Abyss to Whitechapel, you know, like a band that's doing all right. You know, each step of the way, you kind of gain new perspective of things. And now, you know, being where I am, we're doing all right. But I mean, looking at like other bands that are selling like 50, 60,000 records first week, and, you know, doing huge numbers, you know, gigantic tours, you know, I mean, it's like, we're really not, you know, Whitechapel's not the biggest thing in the world, you know, so it's kind of, like I said, you kind of just gain new perspective every step of the way. But I don't know, for me, I mean, again, like, it's just night and day, you know, basically bottom of the barrel to like somewhere around the upper ranges of the barrel of the whole deathcore thing, whatever, you know, heavy music that you don't really want to show your mom. That will, I don't know, very enlightening experience, I feel like. Feel fortunate.
Okay, Whitechapel says that they're influenced by many metal acts from like Metallica and Nile. Like, what kind of stuff were you influenced by?
Well, I mean, I've listened to all sorts of stuff over the days. I mean, like I really kind of got into playing like faster music by like listening to like punk rock and stuff like that back in the day. But I mean, as far as metal goes, I've always really been, you know, into like the more melodic, like European, like At the Gates, you know, Old in Flames, Dark Tranquility era stuff, you know. I don't know, within the last like 3-4 years or whatever, I've kind of gotten more and more into the just, you know, straight heavy, but I'll always, you know, I feel like my preference in heavy music is always going to be, you know, more the like European influence, you know, melodic.
Okay, what do you hope for with the remainder of the year? Or what do you hope the remainder of the year holds for the band, like with a new album looming and everything?
I mean, I just hope that it does well. I hope that people take well to it and like the stuff that we put out. I mean, I know for me, like I personally, I'm definitely my own worst critic when it comes to like anything that I've written But I mean, again, like that's just part of the band growing and progressing or whatever. So, like I said, I mean, I just hope it does well, and I hope people like the direction that we're going in. I mean, the rest of the year, as far as I know, it's pretty well stacked up for us with touring. I mean, we're shooting for a pre-Mayhem release on our new CD. So once that comes out, we'll just be pretty much pushing that for the rest of the year. We're on the Mayhem tour, so in my opinion, at least this year with Slipknot, headlining it, like, probably can't do a whole lot better than that as far as like a big metal tour this summer, so we're all really excited about it. I mean, the rest of the year is nothing but good things for us as far as I know. The only thing that would make it bad things is if, like I said, that record just totally bombs, but I don't necessarily see that happening. I mean, I'm, again, pretty pleased with everything that we've written. I think it's, a good sound and a good direction. Not that it's like a crazy, different, new direction. It still sounds like Whitechapel, but no record that they've put out really sounds exactly like